Be the Best You podcast. The sole purpose of this podcast is to teach, inspire, and motivate everyone to be the best versions of themselves. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Be the Best You podcast. I'm your host, Larry Dawson. Today I got the MF on my shirt. Don't take that the wrong way. That stands for Muscle Factory. That is a good friend of mine's company. You can check them out if you are in the Charlotte area. You can come and see the brick and mortar building in person. They have all the supplements and vitamins that you need, or you can check them out online at musclefactorysc.com and put in promo code LD and get 10% off of anything that they have to offer. Today we're going to pull a little switcheroo for you. I have my beautiful wife on, and she's actually going to interview me and ask me some questions. So what do you got for me?
Should we switch seats so you can feel the heat over on this side?
No, I don't like.
I
think I would feel more comfortable in my seat.
Yeah. All right. So you frequently talk about the spirit energy throughout your podcasts. So I had a question for you about. You have spoken about the importance of this. How do you go about maintaining your spirit energy?
Well, that's a good question. My life did not start off the best, and I was kind of born and bred into a lot of chaos, and there was not a lot of stability. I was raised in a Catholic church, and there was some religion in my life, but I always leaned more towards spirituality than a particular religion. When I started the process of changing my life to become the man I am today, I think I kind of honed in on like channeling my spirit energy. I used to practice meditation a lot more. I don't meditate like that anymore. I do meditate still. I do, like whenever I catch myself getting worked up or getting frustrated, I do catch myself sitting myself.
When did you start meditating? Was it, I'm assuming after the chaos?
Yeah, I was about 3 years into my prison sentence. So I was probably about 25 years old. And for even the first few years I was home. So I would say during those last 10 years of incarceration and maybe the first 3 years I was at home, really focused on meditating. And even like right now today, like I went upstairs a few minutes ago and like sat down and like practiced my breathing for a few minutes because this morning has been a very hectic morning.
Yeah.
So I still do. I just don't take like an hour out and do it. My life, I'm not making excuses. I'm not an excuse type person. Doesn't allow for me to take 1 hour breaks in the middle of the day to meditate like when I was, sitting behind bars, but I do still meditate. It might only take me 5 minutes, but sometimes I just need to calm myself down, get my energy focused, and get my mind back right, because your mind will take off if you let it. Some of the things I do for my spirit energy is I'm careful who I let close to me. I'm careful who my friends are. I influence a lot of other people, but I don't let a lot of people influence me. And that helps, because when you let other people influence you, you'll catch your compromising your integrity and doing things to sabotage your spirit energy that you shouldn't. So if you're singularly focused on what's important to you and don't let outside noise get in the way, that is one way to protect your spirit energy, because if you're not letting your friends influence you, if you're not letting like social media or the news or TV period or co-workers influence you, and you're able to stay the course of what you want and making sure you're following your path and your energy is focused and purpose driven, like ultimate goals. Like ultimately I want our relationship to be amazing. So I need to make sure that my energy is focused on that. I want to be successful with all three of my businesses, so I need to be focused on that. I want to be a good dad and stepdad, so I need to be focused on that. I want to be a good man, a good leader, and a good person for people to follow that aren't where they need to be and are trying to get there. So I need to be focused on that.
You've also aligned people close to you that do possess those qualities. You've even said to me on multiple occasions, we need to find good couple friends that really prioritize their relationship. So on both ends, removing people that don't fuel you, and then adding people that could help elevate you.
I'll say that because, as we grow and we evolve, one thing that we learn, because we learn from our past mistakes, we talked about taking an L and making it a lesson, not a loss, is that if you're going to be in a successful relationship, you can't have a bunch of single friends or have people close to you that are in bad relationships and they're talking about their significant other, or they're gossiping, or they're making comments, or they're cheating, or they're up to no good, or they're boosting you to do stuff you shouldn't, or you're listening to their drama. I don't want that energy close to me. I want to protect my spirit energy. So I only want good, solid couples close to me that, like steel sharpens steel. So like I'm inspired by them, and hopefully they're inspired by me, and we're pushing each other to be worse, not unloading drama on each other like in that terrible cycle.
Normalizing toxicity.
Yeah. So man, every way possible that you can, even in ways that you think you don't. Like there's probably stuff you do on a regular basis. I don't know, I'm pretty in tune with you, so maybe I do and we just don't speak on it. Where I catch like you working on stuff to better yourself as a person, whether it's strengthen your mind or physical being or even at work. And, like we talk about a lot of it, sometimes we don't, but I catch it. You probably do with me. You're probably like, oh, he must have went upstairs and meditate for a couple minutes to calm down. So like I don't know, man. Like you just have to constantly work. You have to constantly be in tune with your emotions, your energy, where your energy is at, what you're letting close to your energy. So just be mindful of that and take time for yourself. If you're listening and you're wondering like, how are you doing? Take time for yourself. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 55 minutes. It doesn't matter. Like refocus, think about what's important, what you really want. Don't get distracted and just put in the work, man.
Yeah. You had Damon on, a few episodes back, and he asked you, what do people do if they don't have positive influences around you? And I actually thought about that a while back because there's been times where you and I both didn't have that. But I think what you did specifically in prison, which kind of leads into the next question, is what you took in, even though it wasn't people, there could be toxicity around you, but the information that you took in was positive.
Yeah.
So therefore it was still elevating you at a spiritual level.
Yeah, if you listen to my podcast, one thing you had to pick up on about me right now, or by this point, is that one of my strengths in life is I'm mentally tough. So even though I was in a rough environment, I was able to physically defend myself. So some of those issues weren't as present as they were for other people, and I locked myself down mentally and gave myself a mission, and I just stuck to that mission. And it was taking in knowledge to better myself and to improve myself, and a lot of that was based on studying religion, studying spirituality, and just becoming a better person.
So with that being said, would you say it was more difficult to keep your energy on point in prison or outside?
This was probably going to shock a lot of people because they're not going to be able to wrap their minds around the answer to and being truthful to that. It was easier for me to keep a positive attitude and keep my spirit energy aligned properly in prison. And the reason why is because on a physical level, like first of all, no one's immune to getting hurt in prison. I don't care how tough you are. A knife, to the neck is going to neutralize any human being, period. So you do need to be mindful of the situations you put yourself back there, because regardless of who you are, you can get taken out. But if you are a man that is willing to defend yourself and stand your ground. There's going to come moments and times when you need to, but if you show that you're willing to do that, it's a predatory environment where people prey on the weaker. So once a few altercations happened and people realized a few things about me, I tended to be left alone more.
You were very regimented too.
Yeah.
It seems like you talked about having like a certain amount of time you set on your mind, a certain amount of time you set on your body, and there really wasn't anything that broke that regime.
Yeah, it was 10 hours a day. It was 3 hours of physical fitness and 7 hours on the mind. And so I said all that to say that because a lot of people, when I said that answer, I know they were thinking like, oh God, how did you focus when you had to watch everything running? It got to a point where I did, but not at that level. Because I stayed in my room a lot, I read a lot. When I did go outside, I was practicing martial arts, I was doing physical fitness training, I was running, I was studying, I was going to like the library, I was going to school, I was doing stuff like that. So I was pretty focused on what I was doing and not the other noise that's going on in there and getting caught up with the prison lifestyle and getting institutionalized. So I was able to focus on what my mission was, and my mission was to turn my life around, not to the point to just where I would be good, but to turn my life around to where I could be an example for others, and not just people that had been to prison, but for all people. Because I made my mom a promise, and that sounds silly, like, oh, you made your mommy a promise. Yeah, I did. I made my mom a promise. I made my mom a lot of promises that I broke as a young man. And I made a decision that this time I was going to be serious, and I was going to be a man, and I was going to be the man that can make my mother proud, and I was going to fulfill this promise. And she said a lot of things to me one day on my 25th birthday that really turned my life around. And I promised her that not only would I turn my life around, but I would make my life so good, so great, that I would help people for the rest of my life turn their life around. And so I had this like focus in me. And when you have to sit down and time out and you don't have a lot of distractions, like that mission of developing myself, getting my spirit energy right, changing my mindset, getting my physical being right, it was a very serious mission that I worked on every single day. So with not a whole lot of distractions, just the singular focus of becoming a really straight / great individual that could be rock solid for not only myself, but for others as well. When I came home, I think I ran into some speed bumps, some hiccups along the way, because I thought that I could just hit the ground running. In a lot of ways I did, like going to work, making money, making my mother proud, helping people. But I ran into some brick walls. I ran myself into the ground. When you run yourself into the ground and you're trying to pour from an empty cup, it's hard. Mm-hmm. And also, so now I have this mission, right? So now I'm a husband, so I want to be a great husband. So now I'm a business owner. I want to be a great business owner. So being a father, a stepfather, I want to be a great father, a stepfather. I want to be a great role model. I want to help all these people. I've got jobs. I've got bills. I got to keep my house up. So, and those aren't excuses. What I'm saying is I went from very singular focused, where like I could just concentrate to where now I have, let's just say 15 things, and you know me, I want to be great at all of them. So I'm not going to settle for being good at any of them. I'm going to be mad at myself and try to be better every day. So I think I was struggling like, damn, I got this, and I got this, and I got this, but this one's not good. And this one, I need to get this one better. And this one's just okay. To where like I finally found like this peaceful balance to where like, okay, I'm getting it. All right. So we just got to spend this amount of time working on this amount of time working on this amount of time working on this. That way you can be rock solid in every avenue of life. So the ultimate answer to the question is, to me, it was easier in prison because there was one mission. The mission now is tenfold. There are several different missions, and I want to be great at them all. So the initial process was a struggle of me trying to figure out that balancing act of how to make them all great. And I'm not saying that I have mastered that, but I am in a very good place with
So with where you're at with all of those things,
Yeah.
you have all those going on, is there any one thing that people can do that can positively impact all areas of their life?
So you know that I'm a big law of attraction guy. I would say that there's probably only one thing that could affect multiple areas like that, and that would be to try to have a positive attitude about everything. Because if you have a negative attitude about something, that's not that you're not going to succeed. That's going to be a bad area of your life, and it doesn't matter which area it is. It could be your spiritual side, it could be your relationship side, it could be your work side, it could be your personal side. If you're allowing negative thoughts in your mind and you're allowing them to fester around and become your reality, and you're speaking them out, and that's the energy that you're putting out into the universe, that's what you're going to get back to you. It's almost like the person you know is like that. They're just constantly, it's one thing after another, after another, after another, but that's all they're talking about. So I believe that if there's one single thing that could affect everything in a good way, it would be pick up the book, The Law of Attraction, and see what they're talking about. See how they say, we get the energy back that we put out. So if you think positive and you speak positive and you're putting positive energy out, positive energy will come back to you. And even if something bad or tough does happen to you, that's life. Tough and bad stuff is going to happen to all of us. But how we deal with it is going to be a test of our character. So just tell yourself, this is only a speed bump in the path of where I'm going, and keep that positive mindset. Because if you can keep that positive mindset, it will help you in every single aspect of your life. It doesn't matter what it is.
And if you keep a negative mindset, everything will fall apart.
Yeah, it will.
Okay, so you kind of already answered this next question. I want to take it a step further. The question is, how did prison impact the evolution of Larry? But taking it a step further, had you not gone to prison, would you have been able to tap into that spiritual part of you?
To be honest with you, I would probably be dead if I didn't go to prison. That's the path I was heading on. My life was completely chaotic, and most of the people that I've grown up with are dead or in prison. And just over the last couple of years, how many times have you heard me say, another friend of mine died, another friend of mine died?
Yeah.
So I was not living right. I was living really wrong. And in a weird way, prison kind of saved my life. It gave me a chance to sit down, go to timeout, sit down, to refocus, to understand myself, who I am, to grow up and become a man, to rebalance myself, to change my thinking, to educate myself, to study, to learn, to grow, to find a mission, a point to life, to live for, to let my past go once and for all. It was it's one of the better things that ever happened to me. And that sounds crazy because people are like, what, you served 13 years in prison?
You just kind of said, you turned that negative into a positive.
Yeah.
It was all how you framed it in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, without it, I wouldn't be here, I don't think. And if I was here, I wouldn't be the man I am today. So, it changed everything for me. It forged the human being that you see today.
Was there any one thing that inspired you to explore spirituality?
Yeah, so I said that I was raised basically Catholic / Christian, and even as young, I didn't have a rebellious side towards religion or God or Christianity or any of that, but I felt like there was a little something different that I felt personally. I felt more spiritual instead of like following a man-made doctrine. And So I'm super curious, and I had a lot of free time on my hands. It's not like there was a lot.
Prison.
It's not like there was a lot going on. So I studied 6 different types of religions, and I dug deep into them. And one thing that I came away with is obviously all of them are different, whether you're studying Christianity or the Muslim religion or the House of Yahweh or Scientology or the Mormon religion. Doesn't necessarily matter. There's kind of some common themes in all of them, is that they're faith-based.
Yeah.
They're based off of parables. They're based off of man's testimony. And they're indoctrinated belief system that is put on you that you have to believe this because this is it. And that never sat well with me. But I always felt a pull towards spirituality. When I read the books like The Secret and The Law of Attraction and studied Buddhism and stuff like that, I felt a natural pull to it. Sometimes certain things relate to certain people. It really related to me. And so I started working on, when I was studying the Buddhism, the meditation, centering myself, my energy, knowing who I am, understanding the things I do, the things that come back at me, putting things into the universe and seeing what the universe gives me back. And to me, it always felt natural, and it worked well for me. I still pray, and you know that about me. And people are like, "Oh, but you just believe in spirituality. You don't believe in Allah or Jesus or this or that." I never said any of that. I said that I'm a spiritual person, and my spirituality and my beliefs are very personal. So when I pray, that's really nobody's business. Because here's how I look at all of this. This is my life, and this is my choice to live my life. A lot of people go through their life, and whether they want to admit this or not, their beliefs, the way they behave, a lot of their actions, a lot of the way they think is based off the way they was taught by their parents or their school teachers or their surroundings or what they was watching on TV or things like this. And I chose to not go with what I was told, you should think this way, or you should follow this religion, or this is how it should be. I chose to sit back as a man and to take in information, and then once I took in all the information, make a decision for myself. What do you believe? What is your mind telling you? Which way are you being pulled? How do you feel? And based off of that information and my studying and my understanding and my knowledge, that's where I came up with, and people would be like, "You're dead wrong." That's fine. This is my life and this is my opinion. I took all the information that was at my fingertips and used it and came up with what I came up with, and it works well for me. My life is good. I've never been happier. I feel, so blessed and so thankful since I've changed my life and implemented these things into my life. My life has changed so much for the better. So I say, if you're watching or listening, do what's best for you, but don't do what someone tells you to do. If someone's telling you that the Bible is, that's it, and you have to believe every word that's in the Bible, and this is what it is, and you can't believe anything else. Listen, man, the Bible is parables. And the Bible was wrote off of secondhand stories 75 years after the death of Christ. From this person who told this person, this told person. And I'm not knocking the religion at all. Like I said, I still pray. But what I'm saying is, you have to use your brain. You have to use right here, what you have, to take in knowledge and then make a decision based off of the knowledge that you gather. And you can go read about the Mormon religion or Scientology or the House of Yahweh or the Muslim religion, and you're going to see a lot of similarities. Let's just use Christianity and the Muslim religion for one. So the Muslim religion believes that Jesus Christ was Jesus Christ, but that he was just a prophet, not the Son of God. Where So in the Muslim religion, the Prophet Muhammad is also just a prophet. He is not the Son of God either. But he's supposed to be a more powerful prophet than Jesus Christ. And so in the teachings, in both of the teachings, they're teaching you a lot of the same things based off of belief and based off of secondhand testimony and based off of parables. So when you have this side saying this and this side saying this and then this side saying this and this side saying this, you know, at some point in time we have to say to ourselves, I'm going to stand for something or I'm going to fall for anything. So take all the knowledge that's available to you, especially in today's world where all knowledge is at our fingertips with social media, and you can study and you can come up with what you come up with. But I would say that what I have come up with spirituality and leaning more towards like Buddhism, still having a belief of a power being and being able to pray and feeling safe and comfortable in my belief system and how I go about it, it works well for me, and that just is what it is, man.
I think what you said is key about being able to challenge everything you've ever been told and everything that you've ever known, because I think that's where the gap is in between like growth and staying the same. If you're so steadfast in what you've been told and what you currently believe that you can't move beyond that, then you're kind of stuck. But if you're willing to challenge, like you said, you and I both grew up Catholic, and I did reach a point myself where I said, what makes me think that everything that I believe is right and everybody else is wrong? Which then put me on a similar path of looking into other religions. So I do think that that's a key component, is being able to challenge your inner belief system.
Yeah, and too many times I catch people having belief systems based off of what their parents taught them to believe.
Of course, that was mine. I was thrown into the Catholic Church, baptized as a baby, Catholic school all the way up. So
Yeah.
it's not until you're an adult and you start meeting other people of different spiritual walks of life that you begin to really question it.
I don't think that a lot of people understand that what they think is their opinion on stuff isn't necessarily their opinion. It's basically what has been indoctrinated on them, taught to them,
Yeah.
kind of shoved down their throat, depending on the situation you came from.
Yeah.
And they've adopted that as their thought process and believe it's their thought process.
Yeah.
Instead of ever taking the time and saying, well, wait a second, what do I actually believe? What do I actually feel? And have I done any type of research on this myself outside of what I was taught?
Yeah. Can I challenge myself?
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people in today's age want to do stuff like that.
No.
That takes time and effort. Why would you put...
And it takes you admitting that you're wrong.
Why would you put time and effort into something like religious thoughts or spiritual thoughts when you could mindlessly scroll through the internet or watch a reality television show or argue about Fox and CNN News? Or like, who has time to care about their spirituality when they could do that, right? So,
Yeah.
that's where we're at these days.
Top thing on my list today. When derailed in life, what do you do to get your spirit energy back on track? This is probably different for everyone. You and I are similar in this aspect. We both really like water. So if I personally, I'm answering your own question, sorry.
She's telling me what my answer is.
His answer, we actually agree on a lot, is that like if I messed up, I go to the lake or I go to the ocean. Like that's always been my calm place. Some people like to take walks in nature or whatever, but for me, I like some water element.
It's crazy you said that. I just texted Silver the other day and I sent her that picture that I took when we was on the boat the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, no matter where I go in life, I won't leave the water. I was like, it is my calming, peaceful place. No matter what, I can go to water and I'm like,
Everything melts away.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say that is one of them. But also another thing that I do is, I'm kind of hard on myself. And so when I catch myself slipping or messing up or having an attitude or doing something wrong, I'm not the type of person, like some people, that's their entire life. Or some people, when they make a mistake, it snowballs into several days or a week or a month. I tend to catch myself fairly quickly
Yeah.
and like almost smack the hell out of myself. Like not physically, but mentally, like the hell is wrong with you? Like get it together, boy. And I will really check myself and be hard on myself, and I'll regroup myself and I'll like center myself, and I'll be like, all right, enough is enough, and get myself lined back up. I think that on a personal level is that drive to be great that I have, that me and you talk about. And you know, what works for a lot of people, these technical ways of getting yourself right, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever you use, whatever technique you use to get yourself back right with, I'll never argue it, because we all have different techniques. I'm rough on myself, and that has always worked for me. So if something works for you, and it really works, then regardless of what people are telling you, do what works for you. And I say
Even
that,
if your wife struggles to see you beating yourself up.
I say that because some people can't live off of their past mistakes or their past pain, because they can't get past it and it will break them. I've used past mistakes and past pain to fuel me to be a better man, almost like putting gas in a car. And like pushes me. And like it's made me be very successful, and it's helped me. And you know, me and my wife, we do not get in disagreements or fights or argue very often at all. Like maybe like 2 in the last year and a half, and like small little things. We just like we're just in a really good place. And even the last time that like we had a difference, like I had to like check myself after a day and be like, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, like she's your entire world. You love her with every single thing you got. It doesn't matter which one of you are right or wrong or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like stop, get your shit together, boy, and just go be a good husband and go love your wife. Period. So like I have a unique ability to pull myself back straight anytime I veer out of line, which we all have strengths in life and we all have weaknesses in life. That's one of my strengths, is my ability to, when I veer, to pull myself back really quickly. But I would say to anyone that's listening and say, well, that's easier said than done, I would say this: catch yourself, be mindful of it. When you catch yourself having an attitude or being mad or arguing with someone or messing up at work or, you know, fussing at the kid, it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever's going on, be honest with yourself, catch yourself, and be like, this isn't the best version of me. And then just make the step to get yourself back to being the best version of yourself.
Yeah, you say that all the time. Awareness is everything. Sometimes we mindlessly go through life and just are reactive. If you slow everything down and you're aware of it, and you can actually ask yourself, why is this upsetting me, or whatever the case may be, really prevents a lot of arguments.
Yeah.
You know you're gonna love it.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna really excite you.
Can't wait.
When you were sentenced to 15 years in prison, what thoughts went through your head, and how did you mentally prepare for what was ahead of you?
I thought to myself, fuck them, fuck that, and I'll show them. And the reason that I felt like that was because I don't feel like the people that prosecuted me or came after me or put me away was any better than me. I feel like a lot of them are crooks and shady individuals, and the system's pretty messed up. And I think time has proven that my theory on that is right. A lot of those people have gotten in trouble. A lot of those people have been fired from positions and been caught up in controversies and stuff like that. I'm not saying anything I did was right or anything. You just asked me a question. You asked me what my mentality was, and I gave you my answer. My answer was F that, F them, and I'll show them. And I had this mindset that I would come back better better than ever, and that when I came back better than ever, that the same people that were basically like saying, throw him away, hopefully in there he dies or becomes institutionalized or we never hear from him or see from him again. I felt like those same people, that when they saw me, whenever it was they saw me again, that they would be envious of me and my life and who I am as a man, and be like, holy crap. So that's what my mindset was on that, and I have a very show you mentality.
You do. Tell me I can't do something and I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah, so I have a very show you mentality, and I felt like you haven't done anything to me. Like, what'd you do to me? You took my physical being and put it in timeout. You never had my mental. Never had my mental. Never could and never would have my mental. I had my mental the whole time. It's how I didn't get institutionalized. It's how I didn't become part of the system. It's how I didn't repeat. It's how I didn't become a repeat offender or just the things that happen to people back there. It's how I became the man I am today. They never had my mental being. They only had my physical, and they only had my physical for, a period of time. And the second part of that question is that, so I made a decision very quickly that I would not allow myself to think or talk about my time. And like I was saying before, we make decisions in life where sometimes we look back and we're like, man, that was a really stupid decision. And then we make decisions and we're like, I don't know how I had the foresight to understand that I was making a really super solid decision in that moment in time. But I did, because I watched how people worrying about their time, talking about their time, and all that time, just, it messed people's heads up. It really destroyed people, it ate away at people back there, institutionalized them, it broke them. And I was like, man, I'm never going to be weak like that. So I said to myself, I'm not talking about my time, I'm not thinking about my time. And so I said to myself, this is what you're going to do. You're going to allow yourself a little nugget here and a little nugget there. And the first nugget was that when I reached the 5-year mark, I would say to myself, congratulations, you hit the 5-year mark. Now you can't think about it again until you hit the 10-year mark. When I hit the 10-year mark, then I could say to myself, you hit the 10-year mark, congratulations. Can't talk about it again until you have 1 month left. When you have 1 month left and you hit the 13-year mark, you can say to yourself, I have 1 month left. And then you're not allowed to think about it again until the day before you go home. And I did that. And some people might be like thinking, yeah, right. No, I did that in all seriousness. And I am brutal on myself when I have made my mind up to make decisions like that. I would not talk about it. I would not think about it. If the thought even came in my head to think about my time, I would yell at myself internally. Shut up, boy. Not allow myself to even think about it for a second. As I had went through my entire sentence, from like the level 3s to the level 2s to the level 1s to the work release, I think I was about a year and a half before getting out. There was me and 5 other guys. We were working in Chester or work release, and they were talking about their time. One of the guys was getting ready to get out and is asking me about my time, because I never told nobody when I was getting out. So nobody ever knew, like, oh, he's getting out and so-and-so. Everybody else knew when everybody else was getting out. Nobody knew when I was getting out, because I didn't talk about that stuff. And they're like, Larry, when's your max out day? When you get out and stuff? And I was like, I don't talk about my time. And they're like, man, shut up. And I was like, no, I don't talk about my time, man. And like the fact that I was even in a moment of time where I had to discuss it for a second was seriously agitating me. So I walked around the back of the building and continued painting like we were doing back there, because I didn't even want to talk about it, discuss it, or even think about it. So the first part of the question is basically, F them, F that, I'll show them. And that's the way I'm built. Different people are motivated different ways. I'm not saying that if you're watching this or you're listening to this, that you should use a negative to make a positive. That does not work for a lot of people, and it's actually taught the opposite way, to let go of things and stuff like that. I've had this unique ability to take life's failures or mishaps or pains and struggles and use them for fuel, almost like you put fuel in a car so the car can continue to go. It has driven me to much success and much happiness, and has helped me succeed in a lot of areas. There's been times where people will say stuff to me like, how are you so disciplined with this? Or how do you do this? Or how can you go and work all day long, be dead dog tired, come home and still work out? Wouldn't it be so much easier to just go sit on the couch or, eat some potato chips or something? Like even when Damon came on and interviewed me, you remember he was like, how do you find a consistency? Like, how do you stay?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Discipline.
Yeah, but I would think about the pain and the hurt and stuff that happened to me, and from whether it was someone else that hurt me or it was a self-inflicted wound, it doesn't matter. I would take that pain, that struggle, and that thought, and literally almost like in a choo-choo train throwing coal at it, choo-choo-choo-choo, just pushing me along.
Would you feel the emotions along with it, or just remember the occurrence? I say that because they say that you should let things go, because most people, when they think about it, they feel the emotion again. And as you've discussed previously, the body doesn't know the difference between you currently in that situation and the thought invoking emotion and chemical reaction.
It's actually a really good question. So when everything's everything and I'm cool and I'm chill and everything, I don't really feel the emotions of it. I almost kind of clown with it, I'll literally out loud talk junk. Like, you doubted me, doubt me now. And like say crazy stuff, like you might hear me yelling at the gym or something else. Like I'm joking about it, but I'm also a little bit serious. Like, nah, I'm here. This is me, and like I can't be stopped, right? And I'm not feeling the emotion of it, because even though I'm serious and even though it is pushing me, there's a lightheartedness to it. But there's also moments, there has been moments where like I am in my feelings about something and I am a little upset, and I'm like, all right, it's time for war. And I might go hit the gym or go to work or go to accomplish something, and I am like laser locked in, focused. And I will feel the emotions of it a little bit in those times, because I like, it's always worked for me. I'm not saying that no one else should, because different things work for different people. So I will pull it back and let myself feel a little bit of that emotion. Just like, yeah. Like, it's this fire that pushes me. And then when I get done whatever I'm doing, it could be cutting down a tree, it could be bench pressing 400 pounds, it could be building a deck in the backyard. I don't know, it doesn't matter what it is. But like, it will light a fire under me and push me. And then when I get done whatever I'm doing, I'm like, yeah.
Now I gotta go meditate.
I feel much better.
I gotta shake these emotions off me.
I'm gonna go kiss my wife. I'm gonna go meditate. So yeah, like I'm joking around a little bit, but I'm also really serious about that as well. My attitude was F that, F them, I'm gonna show them, I'm gonna prove them wrong, I'm gonna make my life great. They're gonna regret the things that they said about me or the way they felt about me, or just trying to throw me away. That there'll come a day in time that they wish their life was like mine. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant or rude or disrespectful. I was asked a direct question just now, and that is an honest answer. And the second part to it is, making those decisions, like not allowing myself to think about my time or dwell on my time, but just to stay in the moment and just focus on the moment and what I'm working on in that moment until that's accomplished. When that's accomplished, it'll be time for me to go to the next thing. And eventually that was done, the door was open, and it was time for me to go and do the next thing.
Yeah. It's crazy because you have these ideas. There's that book, The Power of Now, that you haven't read, but you literally implemented everything in it. In that instant.
What would say?
Staying in the moment, not, tripping on what's going to happen or what has happened.
Well, I don't know the man or lady that wrote that book.
I've told me.
But I would say this right here, that there are like-minded people in the world that have similar philosophies, that have done certain things. And obviously that person wrote a book based off of having a similar mindset and doing similar things with their mind in their life. And I'm sure there's thousands of other people out there that either have not read the book or have read the book, and when they come across it, they're like, man, this is true because I know this. I've implemented this in my life.
Having no concept of what time is, either past or present, just involved in the right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. I struggle with it. So yesterday, or maybe the day before, you and I were laying in the hammock, and I told you about something that I read, which is basically every person or every relationship that has come into our lives is for a purpose. And you agreed. It was basically, whether that person is to, I don't know, escort you to rock bottom and encourage you to change your life and grow, or whether that person is meant to be in it forever, there's a reason why every person comes into your life. So with that being said, how has our relationship impacted your life? Have I escorted you to rock bottom?
To the rock's top. In every way possible. Calm myself down for a second so I don't get emotional when I answer this. You made me a better man. You have given me a very beautiful purpose. It has changed my opinion on why we are here on earth. Love is the most powerful thing in the world, and if you doubt the truth or magnitude of that, then you've never experienced this type of love. Every single day, I want to be a better man and a better person because of you. I don't ever want to fail or make a misstep because I don't want to let you down. You're my best friend. We could spend 30 straight hours together, and I'm super excited about the 31st hour that's coming up. Like, I have this tattoo that I got about the twin flames, and like how you just know, and like your souls pull at each other. I think that we both have felt that on a very intense level. You've made me a better person in every single possible way, and without ever saying the word to challenge me to be better. You don't have to. The challenge is there because you deserve that from me. You deserve from me to be a better person, a better man every single day, because you deserve the best. And you're my best friend, you're my soulmate, you're the love of my life, you're my everything. So it's changed my priorities and focus in a lot of ways. I talked about running off of pain for fuel. There's times where like the pain, I just push it aside. I'm just running off of happy love fuel.
High on love.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's not a single aspect of my life that hasn't been changed by our relationship in a positive way. And people see us and they only see like perfection. And what they don't realize is that we are both people and we're both flawed people. And as human beings, obviously neither one of us are gods. We're both going to make mistakes and we're both going to slip and trip. That's life. But one thing our relationship has taught me, different than what I've seen in my past relationships or what I see in other people's relationships, is that whether it has been me that has made the mistake or her that's made the mistake, because our love is so deep and so intense that we're both quick to look inside and see where we made a mistake and how we can fix it to make sure that our relationship is the best it can be. Too many times I feel like when people run into issues, they just want to look outwardly and not inwardly. And there is times and moments to look outwardly. But even in those situations, you can still look inwardly too. I think that's been a key to where we are now, because just like every relationship, we've had our moments. And we came out better because of our moments. And so like, there's this thing people do with me where people try to put me on this pedestal. And I do try to lead people and I do try to guide people and be an influence for people. But I always remind people when I catch them putting me like on this different type of pedestal, I always tell them, hey man, I'm a man and I'm a flawed man. The only thing that separates me from most people is I have this burning desire to be a good man and to be great and to correct my mistakes, and I work on that daily basis. I would say our relationship is a lot like that, in the fact that what probably separates us is that we are human and we do make mistakes, and we have made mistakes, and neither one of us are perfect. But we both have this ability and this want to have this great and amazing relationship, and we have this super deep connection and love. So we have been quick to make moves to fix things that need to be fixed or changed, whether it's, inwardly or outwardly, whatever needs to be done. So when people will make comments to me like, oh, relationship goals, or y'all have the most perfect relationship, we do have an absolutely amazing relationship. But just like any other thing in this world, it takes works and there are challenges. So you have to work through that. And if you do, and you care, and you make those moves, you can also have that. You have to tune out other people, not get family and friends involved, or have yes men or yes women close to you. You have to look within yourself and be happy with yourself and love yourself and be honest with yourself, and have love and compassion and understanding for your partner. And the two of you need to work together and not separately. Work on yourself as an individual, but as a team come together to bond as one and to work together. There's not a single aspect of my life that hasn't changed because of you. Obviously, we own a business together, but even like the business that I owned before we met, you've even changed the way that I go about doing that. Your imprint is all over me.
Literally. On your arms.
Literally. I don't know if I answered that question to the best that people wanted to hear or that you wanted to hear. I could go on and on and on and on and on. It's the most incredible feeling in the world. Every day I'm thankful and blessed. I literally was in my gym earlier with 4 other guys, and 2 of them in there was talking about situations where one of them got cheated on, and then another one, his baby mama left him to go with someone else, and there was talking about this drama and this girl flirting with this guy. Anyways, guys being guys. And I said, man, y'all are gonna think I'm super lame. I said, I didn't want to be with another woman the rest of my life. If a tragic event happened and I was left here by myself, I still wouldn't be able to wrap my mind around being with another human being. Sometimes in life, man, you you get to a place or something comes to you. And I think that we need to be more mindful of this to understand the blessing and the opportunity that has been given to us and what has come into our life.
Yeah.
And to hold on to that, to love that, to cherish that, to nurture that, to build on that. And if people would do that more, 50% of all marriages wouldn't end in divorce. And we wouldn't have a lot of the chaos that we have going on in America and the world right now. We would have more love and more peace and better marriages and better people and better values and better morals and better respect for each other. The only thing I'm going to say is, we'll just leave it at this. I love my wife with all my heart and soul, and she's changed my life in every way possible. I had to gather myself for a second because just thinking about it, I started to get emotional for a second.
Oh, me too. No, I think a lot of people get married because it's like two halves make a whole. And if those people are not whole before they get together, is when a lot of the problems occur. You and I are we look internally and we examine ourselves internally and we work on ourselves separately. And I think that that's what has kept us continuing to grow and evolve, because who we are today is not remotely close to who we were when we first started dating. We've just continued to evolve. And of course, 5 years from now, we'll probably be different than what we are right now, because we're not the type of people that don't keep reaching.
Yeah, today someone said something to me, and there was a lady that was here, and she was talking about her boyfriend, and she was like, well, he did this because he was taught this when he was this amount of years old, and the only thing I said to her was evolution.
Exactly. Because I've read a lot about people and patterns, and I can say, oh, I used to do that. And now I understand why I used to do that. And so now I know how not to do that going forward.
Yeah. I mean, we're going on a whole different topic. I think we're going on the topic of changing, evolution, and growing.
But relationships do force you into changing and evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that during that process that you're being mindful that you're changing in a positive way and for the right reasons, and that you're not either, backsliding or making dumb decisions or not evolving or growing or living the way you used to live. I would say that, if you're going to change the right way. Change the positive way. Change forward. Don't change backwards.
Yeah. I think it's time to pass the baton back to you, Ed.
You threw me a curveball with that one.
My powers are been stripped from me.
All right, Will. We went a little different right there at the end, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're watching or listening, please take the time to like, share, subscribe, man. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Leave a comment and let me know something you might want me to talk about, answer a question, subject matter, whatever it is. Until next time, man, this has been another episode of the Be the Best You podcast. Until next time, man, try until you fly.